Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Write or Die Show. I'm your host, Randi-lee. On the show, we interview other writers and we talk about mental health from their personal journeys. If you have not already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead, do that now so that you never miss an episode. Hi, Merry Christmas. No, I'm not coming to you live. I'm sorry. I'm napping if you're watching it in the afternoon, or I'm having breakfast if you're watching it in the morning. If you're watching it in the evening, I guess I'm having dinner. Anyways, Merry Christmas. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. We have a return guest. He just can't get enough of the show, and you know what? That's okay because we love him here. So, Doug Lawrence, how are you?
I'm fine. Merry Christmas.
Thanks. So, if this was Christmas Day, because everyone's watching it, what would you be doing right now?
I would be headed to my daughter's place to watch the grandkids open Christmas presents.
Oh, that's awesome. How many do you have?
2.
Oh, I love that. Mine just turned 5.
2, 3, I guess. Yeah.
You guess. Okay. It's a weird answer. How come it's you guess there's 3?
I have to keep telling myself my daughter-in-law, her daughter, I keep forgetting she's actually
Part of the family now.
Yeah. So I got to keep reminding myself. So definitely, she's quite a bit older, so I don't see myself driving to where she lives to watch her open Christmas presents. So all the attention gets focused on the little ones. So to speak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That does make sense. Yeah, the little ones do they're a little bit more fun. Like, we're Christmas shopping right now, and buying for our kids, because our kids are 18 and 20, is just like boring. But then I think about my grandson who's 5, and I'm like, and he needs this, and he needs this, and he needs it. He doesn't need any of it. None of it. He has so many toys as it is. But it's just fun to buy for him because he gets so excited, and the face lights up. Yeah.
I'm a bad grandpa because I just give money and say, go get what you need. Yeah, I know.
I mean, at 5 years old, though, that's not exciting to open.
My grandson had made a comment about that. Because I would put the money in an envelope and give it to them and say, okay, this is, you take this and go and buy something you need because grandpa doesn't really know. And then he said, oh, here we go again. Grandpa's got another envelope with money in it. Oh, well. So then what I ended up doing was I gave the money to their mom, to my daughter, and said, you know what they need or what they would like. Here's the money. You go and get it. And if you don't mind, when you bring it home, if you wouldn't mind wrapping it for me, that would be even better. So
my grandma did the exact same thing when my kids were little. She gave me a bunch of money to buy for my kids and my niece and nephew because she's like, I don't know what to get them, just whatever. And then she goes, well, just keep whatever's left over. I was like, oh, there's only $50 left over. But it bought my first Christmas tree because that was the first year that I had my own apartment too. So it was really cool because my grandma bought my first Christmas tree, and it took the tree getting super destroyed before I would get rid of it because my grandma died, probably 10 years ago now. Ooh, yeah, it's been quite a while actually now. But because she had died, I didn't want to get rid of this tree because this tree was from my grandma. But her cats had climbed all up in there, and when the cats climb up in there and the branches get all wonky, and it really was time to get a new tree. So last year we did end up buying a new one. It was sad, but I still have the memory of the fact that she bought my first tree. So, it is really nice that way. really good segue into talking about Christmas, because if anyone has watched previous episodes with Doug on there, you know that he has lost his wife, and I imagine Christmas can't be that easy. I mean, it's probably I don't even know. I don't even know. So you tell me.
Yeah, I forget. I was doing something. Oh, that's what it was. My Christmas letter, and I had written. I remember. I can still see the statement where I put in there that this is probably the worst time of the year for me, just because Deborah's obviously she's not here, and Christmas was meant so much to her. Like I was going back through and asking myself, okay, if it was the 24th, what would I be doing? And the 24th, I would be hosting all the family and some friends and stuff like that. And we would do games. So we do, the trying to unwrap a gift with oven mitts and stuff,
Yes.
things like that. And we started to include the two grandkids last year. They would help, and I think that we'll see that will evolve, where they'll actually have to go and buy their own gift to bring to Grandpa's house, so that we can play that game. And we just did drinks and appetizers and stuff, and then last year I remember I was trying to kick them out a little earlier, because having to get up early and drive over to where my daughter lives to watch the grandkids open. So there was all, sort of the traditions. And when Deborah was here, she made sure that all happened. So it's tough. And we sometimes we joke about, or we talk about the leaving that empty seat at the table. We do that. Because we want to have a sorry.
No, that is totally okay.
We want her to know that she's still participating in the Christmas holidays and the festivities and that. I actually had ordered another one of those LED Christmas trees, where
Yep, that's what we have.
Yeah, well, I got 3 of them.
Oh my goodness! Well, you're beating me.
So, and I could feel that Deborah was in the family room yesterday when I was unpacking it and starting to fluff it. It's still got a bad list to it that my daughter will have to fix, but just knowing that she was there, and she's the tree, I set it up right next to her where her urn is. So, and I don't know if I ever shared, but I actually have a memory table where I have pictures of Deborah plus her urn.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh. So Christmas is a tough time for sure, because, of all that. And it's going to be interesting to see how everyone deals with the fact that Deborah's in the room, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's sweet, though. It's such a nice way to keep her involved when she's not physically there, right? So I love that empty seat. I love that you have, but I can't believe maybe you have said there was a memory table, but I mean, you were on quite a while. Like your first episode where we really delved into it was in the very beginning. But I love that you have that for her, and that the Christmas tree is right there. It's so sweet. I get tingles. Because that, like I said, I can't even begin to imagine what that would be like, especially when there are, you have your kids and your grandkids, but you want to make sure that she's involved, especially if she loved this time of year.
And she did. Even when she was in the hospital Christmas morning, because she would still be in the hospital, we had set it up so that she could FaceTime and so she could be part of the grandkids going and opening gifts and stuff, and gifts that, you know, she, through me, through Brandy, our daughter, had purchased still with grandma's name on it. So yeah, it was, I'll
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to talk about, that's for sure.
no, and I'm normally pretty good, but just as we get closer, it gets tougher. So, but yeah, she participated as much as she possibly could, and I think I remember now that I actually had picked up all the gifts that were going to be for her, and I took them to the hospital, and I watched her open her gifts. So yeah.
Yeah, this time of year can be tough for a lot of people. I read a statistic the other day. It wasn't necessarily about grief specifically, but it was like 56%, something like that. I don't remember exactly because I read it just in passing real quick. But a good half of the population experiences some kind of depression or anxiety, and we all know grief can fall into those categories during this time of year, which is why it's so important to have different ways to cope with it, different ways of, if it is grief, keeping somebody's memory alive, different ways of just making sure that it doesn't get you completely down, especially when you have kids and you have grandkids. You don't want to, for lack of a better term, you don't want to be the mopey one.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be able to enjoy them and have them have good memories, and have them good memories even of the person that maybe isn't there anymore. So those are amazing ways and strategies to keep doing that, having the tree with them, having the empty seat. What other kind of strategies do you use leading up? I know this is Christmas, but we're gonna talk about leading up to Christmas a little bit, because somebody could watch this and then next year they can use these skills. So what are some of the things that you might do leading up to Christmas to deal with the emotional side of things?
The most important thing I know for me is that if we had any traditions, that they continue on, even though Deborah has passed and moved on. That sounds kind of weird to say somebody's moved on, but there were lots of things that took place pre-Christmas and during Christmas and then after Christmas. And like I had talked about us on the 24th doing we did a gift exchange. Mm-hmm. We did a number of different things. We did the oven mitt game, and we did a couple other things as well. But the big thing was that she was always prepared and wanted things to be prepared. And so we actually had where we had a taste testing of the cocktails we were going to be serving on the 24th. So about 2 weeks out, her girlfriend and husband would come over to the house, and we would go through this ritual of testing or tasting a number of different cocktails. And then we would make a cocktail menu, or Deborah would do up a cocktail menu of, here's the 10 featured cocktails that we'll be offering that night. And she loved it. She lived. Yeah, she lived for that. We had some very hard lessons that were learned where you don't need to pour everyone the same cocktail, that you could just do one glass and then share it, because you got to remember we have to get up the next morning and sort of have some semblance of order. So, she was the one that would say, as much as I'd like to have one of each, maybe we better cut it back just a little bit. So, but I think the big thing for me, I know, is that in order for me for coping mechanisms is to it's routine. It's to have a routine in place, and it may mean that I need to change the routine to make it more of a routine that sort of fits for today, rather than carrying forward and stuff. So we've already made some changes to some of the pre-Christmas ones with that Deborah wanted, just because the kids they said, can we try something different, or can we so, and that's kind of what we're doing. Like Deborah used to make killer chicken wings. That was one of the appetizers that everybody made sure when they came out of the oven, they were lined up and ready to get them. I go to Costco and I buy a package of chicken wings and some pork bites, and that's my contribution. And so, we're still somewhat honoring her traditions and that, but we're kind of modifying them to what
I'm sure yours couldn't be quite as good as hers anyway.
No.
So it's nice that you're doing the best that you can without the level of cooking skills.
Yeah.
No, that totally makes sense. And I like how you said that you're kind of adapting, you're changing them, you're adapting them to the now, because even if Deborah was still here, they would need to be adapted and changed as grandkids get older. You want to be able to include them in different ways, and things do change over time. So I think that's really a nice way to keep her alive, because that is how life is, right? It's ever changing. So though we keep these same types of traditions, they do adapt to the reality of what is today, which could be Costco chicken wings instead of the other chicken wings, right? So adapting them makes a lot of sense. And I think that's such a good point that sometimes we forget. I think we forget that if we change something, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're forgetting the person or that we are doing something bad to their memory. We are keeping their memory alive in the ever-changing world that we live in, which is something I think they would want us to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that how would I word this? I think that the whole idea behind the routine and all of that, but what I also have found is that it's really important. I'm a relationship sort of person, and I need to be able to just have somebody that I can talk to, somebody that will listen and let me just, I'm going through dealing with my wife and, not being here for Christmas in she's here spiritually, but she's not, you know what I'm getting at. So, but it's having that person that I can reach out to and talk to. And I know I do it for others. That's part of the bereavement work that I'm doing. I do it for others, but sometimes you don't, the self-care, you forget to take care of number one. And so that's when I find that it sometimes can get a bit tough. And even a text message, like I'm at the end of my day, I text a couple people just to say, I'm here if you need me. And it's being able to do that I find is therapeutic for me as well.
Yeah.
That plus coming and talking to you. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, for those who this is their first time hearing about you, you're all about mentorship and helping other people. Like that's your jam. So it makes a lot of sense that you would often forget to take care of yourself because you are worried about those that you are helping. And it just popped into my head as you were saying these things about making sure to take care of yourself during this time, that this year actually has been a lot of loss for people that I know and myself. So a couple of the girls at work, actually not even just them, a couple of the instructors have lost parents or grandparents this year. My sister, actually, I don't know if you know, my sister died in August. So this year, and my best friend's has had a significant loss just very recently as well. So there's going to be a lot of changes for a lot of people that I know this year with how their Christmas is going to look. And so I think it's really important that we remember to take care of ourselves, because even though we might be, I might cry now, even though we might be really sad because we're missing that person, I think all of these things that you've said about how to keep their memory alive, how to keep some of these traditions going is so important. And making sure that we take care of ourselves and talk to other people when we're feeling like I don't know what to do anymore. Like, we need to make sure to talk to other people, take care of ourselves, do all that self-care. But yeah, there actually, I don't know why, but when you said that, I'm looking back at this year and a lot of loss has happened in my work. There has been a lot of funerals this year, more than I think I've ever experienced in my life, all at one time. So it's gonna be a tougher year for a lot of people. So I'm so glad that you're able to share all of these things that you have found are working for you.
You know, the big thing is that you don't have to do this on your own. That I always encourage people, you know, to I'm part of the bereavement group at the hospital here in the city, and I made the offer to the person that runs the bereavement program, and I just said, you know, you need the time off over the holiday season to recharge and revitalize. But, you know, for me, I said, that's where I get my fuel, is being able to help others. And, you know, sometimes all it takes is somebody just saying thank you for, you know, listening and hearing what I'm going through. So it's I've offered to be that listening and hearing person over the holiday season and beyond that, for that matter, just because I'm a firm believer that, you know, when we reach out, there will always be somebody on the other side that's just waiting to help us. And, you know, and it's so important that if somebody does come to you and says, I'm having a tough go, I need some help, that you don't turn and run the other way, that you actually, you know, extend your hands, your arms, and you say, I am here for you. Let me help you. And I think that being able to do that it's not going to make the journey any easier, but it's going to help you get through what it is you're going to be going through.
I love that. Kind of said it better myself. So with that being said, let's unless you have anything else to add, but I feel like that was such a powerful, impactful statement.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about what you've written. I know it's been a couple of things, and are you working on anything new right now?
I am. I have a book in the manuscript phase, going through some editing and stuff like that. So the book is Grief, the Silent Pandemic.
Oh, I like that. Like I said, so many people this year in my life have lost someone. Yeah. So that's like, that title is perfect.
Yeah. And of course, you know, You Are Not Alone is still, it's been published, it's out there, and we've talked about that in the past. So, yes. But the new stuff is Grief, the Silent Pandemic. Is I'm pretty excited for this book to get published, and we're kind of targeting April-ish for
Okay.
it to be published and out there, and then the message, telling the story and the message that goes along with that, then that begins at that stage.
Yes. Oh, that's exciting. Is that, I was going to ask that, when are you going to release it? So April. That is amazing. And so I know we have talked about your other books, but just in case somebody has not watched the show before, if this is their first time, what kind of books can they expect that you've already published?
The Gift of Mentoring was the first book that I published, and it's basically mentoring 101 is how I describe it. So it kind of there's some case studies and stuff like that, but what it does is it gives you some insight into what is mentoring and how can it be of value to me as a person. And then the second book is You Are Not Alone, and it's all about I'll maybe back up. So You Are Not Alone is Amazon #1 bestseller. It's also the recipient of the Global Book Award, Bronze Global Book Award. It's #1 bestseller in North America and the UK. So it was elevated to international status. So that's those two. And then, like I said, the other one, Grief, the Silent Pandemic, is going to be released in April.
Awesome. And all of these are available on
Amazon.
Awesome. And where do people follow you?
Oh my goodness. Well, you can LinkedIn. I have a fairly big presence on, that didn't sound right. I have a presence on LinkedIn. I do a little bit in Facebook, not a lot. Most of my stuff is done through LinkedIn. So you can do that, but it's probably easier to reach out and get a hold of me two ways. Number one is go to my website, which is www.talentc.ca, and go to the contact me page and just fill in the form on there and send it to me. And that'll be one way to get in touch with me. But if the easiest way is just send me an email message, and my email is doug.lawrence, LAWRENCE, @TalentC, so the word talent with the letter C on the end, .ca, and I'll get back to you. And with me offering grief mentoring now, it's probably a lot easier for people to reach me through my email address.
Perfect. I love all that. And I am sure that you will be back on the show at some point, probably as you get closer to that release date or just after that release date, in and around there. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
So thank you so much again for coming on the show, spending Christmas with me. Yes, guys, I realize it's not really Christmas, but we're spending it together, all of us. Virtually.
That's right.
It's amazing. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. I hope that you are enjoying it. If you were feeling down in the dumps, I hope that we helped you to get a little bit more elevated, and look forward to tomorrow and the next day and New Year's as well. As always, thank you so much for the amazing guests that we have on the show. Be sure to check out their links down in the description below. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and check out our merch store. We've got some very cool things on there. That's my favorite. Sorry, I'm busy ending the stigma. But there's some other very cool designs. 10% of the proceeds always goes back to the Canadian Mental Health Association. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at RB Media, because we have some great new shows coming up and you never want to miss any of those episodes. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly. Bye.